Champions are broken. People look at champions and try and find something that that champion has that they don't have. And he's like, but it's not that at all. They lack something everyone else has, which is an off button. They just don't stop.
These people don't go tell people how hard they train. They train in the fucking dark. These people live in darkness. When they're out in the light, putting on a show that's worth paying for. You guys don't even see their fucking grind. So a lot of times people want to be those people. You don't want to be those fucking people. You have no idea what they went through. You have no idea.
Everybody's great when they're not tired. The champions is when they tired, that's when the real champions come out. That's when a real dog come out.
Tired don't mean nothing. Tired is only in the mind. You tell yourself you're tired, you're gonna be tired. I don't get tired.
So here's the difference between good and great. Very simple. When you're good, you tell others. When you're great, they tell you.
Your true beliefs are only and always expressed in your actions. It is not what you say or what you intend that tells what you believe, but only what you do. Your actions are always the true measure. If you will act the part, if you will pretend as though you have the quality already, the feelings will generate the actions, and the actions will generate the feelings. That if you will act, walk, talk, and live by the same principles and do the same things that successful men and women do, even if you doubt yourself in the initial stages, eventually you will come to the point where you actually feel to the bottom of your soul like a successful, unstoppable human being.
Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. Discipline is infinitely more important. No matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. It's not motivation. If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works.
Pressure defines who you are and who you're not. But it also defines who you can become.
You can't stop. You can't quit. You can't say, I'm a failure. You're not a failure. You're not. Trust in yourself and step forward. Put one foot in front of another.
You know, there's something powerful that once you just sort of embrace the fact that in order to achieve something big, you've got to get rid of these distractions. You're probably going to have some suffering to get there, or some sacrifice to get there. Suffering and sacrifice and hard work is an indication of progress towards our dreams. The lack of sacrifice, the lack of suffering in our lives, its removal, its non-existence also equates to a non-existence of a great life.
I think people think it's a magic trick. They snap their fingers, they make a decision, and their life is different overnight. I think there's a lack of appreciation of everything that goes into the moment where you change your mind and you do something different, and then all of the work that goes in to that rebuilding phase and the aftermath of making that decision that ultimately creates the new life.
So you see your goal, or you know where you want to get, and you head that way, and you run into an obstacle, and you can't get there. You've got to be flexible. You have to realize that. And it's like, okay, I'm still going to go to where I'm going, but I need to take a different route.
You are far more capable and competent and powerful than you imagine. You have within you right now the ability to vastly exceed all of your previous levels of accomplishment.
Massive amounts of people leave greatness inside of them out of fear of what others will think. All out of fear of what people think. So I completely resonate with people that feel that way. But what I'll tell you is, once you do it, you realize that number one, people don't care about you as much as you think they do. And then number two, a lot of times, you know, people will only love you if you suppress yourself for them.
This is like a big fat you to the universe, right? Once you put something, a thought out to the ethers, to the universe, that I want to do something, I want to start a business, I want to lose weight, I want to work on my mental, emotional health, and then you don't do that, that's a big fuck you to the universe, to your creator. Because once you've had the self-awareness that something is wrong with you, then you have a duty and an obligation, as far as I'm concerned, to do something about it. And if you don't, it is a middle finger to your creator.
I think people are impatient. They want results too quickly. They don't appreciate the amount of hard work that goes into actually crafting the life of your desires. And I think as a result of that, when they don't see results immediately, they burn out and retreat to what's safe and what they know versus welcoming failure, welcoming uncertainty, getting comfortable with risk, and remaining persistent in their vision to create something more in alignment with their authentic self.
Who you gonna be next year? Is you gonna materialize your dreams? You gonna go after everything you said you wanted to have for yourself last year that you didn't do this year? What you gonna do? Ask yourself that. Who you gonna become? Who you gonna be? Stop playing games. If you don't like who you is, recreate yourself. You don't like what's going on in your life? No, recreate that.
You can change the chapters in the book of your life if you want to. You could decide now, I'm gonna walk, talk, and be a different person. You decide that. You're the lead character in the story of your life. But too many of you let what I call the extras of life dictate where you're going. How about you start playing the game for the main characters? Your mom, your dad, your children, you! That's who you play the game for.
You can fucking achieve the absolute impossible. You don't need a private school. What you need is what's a straight up, brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world.
To be a star, you must shine your own light. You must follow your own path. You can't worry about the darkness, for it's then that the stars will shine the brightest. You will go through dark times, you will go through dark moments, you will go through frustration. But it is then that you are on your way. Just don't quit in the middle of the darkness, because this valley of death that is there, you can't feel the evil, because all it has is sounds and noise. Throw in your headset, throw in the thing that allows you to get into your zone.
Once something's important to you, it never leaves your mind. If you always dreamt about being a singer-songwriter and you never did it, you will be haunted by that at the age of 70, because it's still right here, stored in the back of your mind. It's something that's meant for you, that's trying to call to you. You see, your dreams, you either pursue them or they fucking haunt you.
I want you to be wealthy and rich so you can take care of your family, give back to your community, hopefully. But my question to you, if you want to be wealthy and rich, how much would you be worth if you lost the money? Like if you became wealthy and you got it and you came into it, but one day you lost it, then how much would you be worth? And I say that to say, how much would your last name be worth? Every day I wake up, I think about, what if this was the last day of my life on this earth? How would I want somebody to report to my son, my daughter, or my wife on my behalf if I leave this world and I'm not in their presence? How much would your last name be worth? Meaning, can your seeds and the people that you reproduce come into this world, can somebody go up to them and say, oh, that was your father? You good. Because of what your father once stood for.
Faith to act on whatever your dream is. When you decide I'm going to do it no matter what, life changes for you. See, most people don't keep their commitments to their commitments. That's why they lead lives of poverty.
The darkness. The sun doesn't shine every day. The storms will come. There are times when the nights will be long and dark and you will be alone. There will be times when the darkness seems to consume everything. But don't let it consume you. Don't let it consume you.
It's the mindset. There are those of you in this room, you don't need another book. There are those of you in this room, you don't need another course. There are those of you in this room, you don't need to do anything else. You are enough as you are. You just don't believe in yourself in the way you're supposed to believe in yourself, and it comes out when you're talking to other people.
Even in the darkest times, even in the strongest storms, even when the sun is blotted out and the world is falling apart, the darkness cannot extinguish your light.
You see, when you step on the court, when you step on the field, when you step in the boardroom, you have to take with you the idea that self-promotion is a right thing. You've been told all your life, be quiet, be humble. But this is not about humility. This is about making sure that the one thing given to you by God that is just yours, your gifts, your time, your talents, your abilities, that thing you need a bullhorn with and say, world, I am here because there is someone on the other side of the earth that needs what's in your hands. But they can't get it if you're silent, if you're whispering, if you're afraid to say it. Because you don't want them to think that you're egotistical.
Socrates said the uncommitted life isn't worth living. So part of what you must do, whatever commitment, whatever covenant you make with God while you're here, to go back to be a better father, to go back to make a difference in the community, to go back to change your life, to decide not to ever to use drugs or alcohol again, to decide that you're going to begin to recreate yourself, that you're going to be reborn to a new state of consciousness. Whatever commitment that you make, keep your commitment to your commitment, no matter what.
Your will, your determination, no matter what is happening, no matter how hard the fight is, as long as you keep fighting, you win. Only surrender is defeat. Only quitting is the end.
Oftentimes we will put things off because it can be done tomorrow. But if you're going to put off something that can be done tomorrow, then if you're willing to die with it undone, why were you doing it in the first place? You've got to decide not to waste your time believing that one day when I retire, you cannot wait until your debts are paid off. You've got to do it now. Because when you get the idea that you're going to wait, that one day will come, that one day isn't promised. Every day that you live, every moment that you have a breath in you is an opportunity for you to be great.
Are you interested in achieving these goals, or are you committed? If you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. You'll come up with stories and excuses and reasons why you can't, and you'll use your education as an excuse, you'll use your stories as an excuse, you'll use all of that as your reasons why you can't. But if you're committed, you will do whatever it takes. You'll let go of your stories, you'll let go of your excuses, you'll let go of all the reasons you currently have that are formulating your identity of yourself, and you'll learn how to let that go and become who you are destined to become.
All the obstacles that you overcome in life is what makes life worth living. It's what proves that you have a purpose. It's what develops you. It's the hardships that make you hard. And when you become hard, you can stand up against things and not wilt. Do not wait to strike when the iron is hot. Strike the iron until it becomes hot. Attack everything. Become something more. You see, the greatest thing to lose in life is not life, because death is not the greatest loss. The greatest loss is to die inside while you're still alive.
The bigger issue with fine is that you say it to yourself. That that thing that you want, I guarantee you, you've convinced yourself that you're fine not having it.
How people live their lives as a result of the story they believe about themselves. You live in a dominant culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self and your belief in yourself, and you have to learn ways in which you can begin to connect with this power that you have within yourself to handle where you are. The key is to be constantly in a perpetual process of discovering the truth of who you are and fighting constantly to look for ways in which you can escape the inner conversation.
Happiness is usually a result. If I get this, then. If I get to the top of that mountain, then I'll have the ta-da moment of, oh, I've got it, oh, I figured it out, which is all BS. Because they're all false peaks. They're not false peaks, but they're never the peak.
You gotta get real doggish. You gotta get downright funky if you wanna make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you wanna be ordinary, you ain't even gotta listen to me. Just go on about your business. If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're gonna have to do extra.
You are proof positive that the impact made from one person can go to another. The what you feel in your chest now, the things that are running through your head this very moment, the fact that you are willing to give me one more rep because somebody cares for you and telling you that you can be more than what you've given. You have more on the inside than what anyone has seen, but it takes you willing to allow it to be poured out. You cannot die with all this greatness undone, uncovered.
I want what all other men want. But when the pressure hits, when the opposition hits, when the challenge hits, when the pain creeps in, when the uncertainty creeps in, when the cuts, when the scars, when the bruises come, I want what all other men want. Except when the opposition and adversity shows up, I just wanted a little bit more than they wanted.
See, the point is, you don't know how much future you've got. What's gone is gone. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Some of you have had terrible things happen in the past. But what's gone is gone. It's in the past. And to spend your time focusing on the past is to spend the only thing that you've got, and that's what's right here, right now, because the sand never stops running. This is all we've got. And to spend your time now thinking of what happened there is making absolute certain that the future is going to be the same as the past. Now, I don't suppose many of us spend a lot of time thinking about that, but a lot of us spend a lot of time making that error.
That's just kind of the way that life works sometimes. It's Murphy's Law. When things go wrong, they always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. And it's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten when you're faced with all those issues and all those problems, and they all hit you at the same time. But let me tell you, that doesn't mean give up. In fact, it means the opposite. It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in. It means it's time for you to go on the war path.
It's not that they need anyone else, they need you. You are unique, you are powerful, you are a blessing, you are the gift that we've been waiting on. And anyone who's ever told you or anything less than great was trying to diminish that light. But there's a light in you that's got a beam big enough that in the most darkest moments, in the darkest alleys, in the darkest nights, it must shine. All of us have fallen, but you have a choice to rise. And when you rise, you can also arrive at a better place than you've ever been, with a better mindset than you've ever held. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Just like the moon and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like the hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain I rise. I am a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling. I bear in the tribe. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear I rise.
You know how many stories of potential it is in the world? You know how many stories of potential of cats that had the juice, and then you see them 5, 10 years later, and they blaming the institution, and they blaming the coach because they didn't have the heart, integrity, and character to show up every single day and do what they said they were gonna do? Stories of potential. Stories of cats telling them how great they were destined to be.
When I say bitch, it's not gender specific. It's a mindset. It means weak, soft, feel sorry for yourself. Get your ass up and lace them up. Stay hard.
Into the daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
That the reason discipline is hard to maintain is because it is hard to maintain. That's what makes discipline hard. It's hard. Holding the line. Maintaining the standard. Giving no slack, none. That's the discipline. That's the discipline, and it is hard. And if there's one thing I would say that does make it easier, it's to envision what it feels like when you're done. What it feels like after you've worked out, or you've held the line on your food intake, or you've pushed through some monotonous project that you have to do, and all those things. When they're done, they feel good.
Ladies and gentlemen, fear kills dreams. Fear kills hope. Fear put people in the hospital. Fear can age you. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you're capable of doing, but it will paralyze you. And it seemed like you're in a hypnotic spell. And I ask you a question, what is the benefit? What's the benefit of allowing fear to hold you back? What's the benefit of giving up on yourself, of not stepping out on life and taking life on? What is the benefit for you? What's the plus in that?
Envision what you will feel like later when you let the discipline slack. You know the feeling. Feeling weak and defeated, and you know that you're falling behind. So get to know those two different types of feelings and ask yourself which one you want to feel in.
So I didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be perfect the first time I did something. It's not going to happen. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to hurt some folks' feelings. You're going to create some enemies whenever you decide that you want to begin to take life on.
There's things in our life that are controlling how we feel about ourselves. And depending on how those things go, that's how we feel about ourselves. And there's no way inner peace can be experienced when we tie our worth to these things. The greatest war you ever will face in your life, the greatest war you ever will face in your life is right here. Your mind is a battlefield.
Every one of us can rise no matter what your background or origin has been. You are not the result of somebody's mistake or sin. You are someone because God made you to be phenomenal, and you will rise. Whatever it is you've gone through, it is a training ground to give you the experience and the backbone that's necessary so that you can stand firm and stand strong against whatever comes up against you. The storms of life will come, but that storm must also have an eye. And in the eye of that storm is I. It's you to stand there and say that the storm around me may swirl and the winds may rise, but I rise with it. I will survive it because there's something great in me that's got to come out. I will rise. I will rise. Out of the surety of defeat, I can rise and win because I am a child of the great I am.
The enemy wants to plant thoughts in your head that your life is over. Wants to put thoughts in your head that God doesn't love you. Wants to put thoughts in your head that you're not good enough. Wants to put thoughts in your head that you're not worth it. Because the greatest war, it's an internal war.
This is a new day. Not because the calendar changed, this is a new day because I'm changing. You're changing. We are developing something unique here. It's an atmosphere. When you come to and you hear a message like this, when you put yourself under these type of words and you hear the surroundings of people who believe like you believe, iron will sharpen iron. The problem is most of us have been putting ourselves in an environment where iron has been going against wood.
Think strategic all the time. Before any action or any inaction, ask yourself this question. Is this action going to make me stronger or weaker? Will this action move me toward the strategic long-term goals I am trying to achieve in my life? And do not lie to yourself. You have to tell yourself the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
Like at a certain point, like eliminate the outcome. Stop being driven by rewards. Stop being driven by outcomes. Stop being driven by, if I get this, I'm gonna do this. Just work. And if you don't get what you thought you were gonna get, show up and still go to work. What's more important, what you acquire or who you become?
The longer we stay around wood, being superior in a place when we've already outgrown it, we will become dull. And when the opportunity comes, when something fresh, someone new, someone that reminds us of what we used to be, someone that had the passion, someone that had purpose on themselves comes, you'll see iron again, and you won't be able to give them what they can give you. You can miss a moment because you don't sharpen yourself against iron. Iron must always seek out iron, must always seek out an opportunity.
A lot of people think what they acquire is the thing that makes them who they are. No, it's who you become in the process of chasing what you want to acquire, right? Change expectation for appreciation. That didn't turn out the way you wanted them to turn out. But most importantly, man, approach it and eliminate the outcome, right? Just go for it, work, go to work.
The thought of who we want to become should produce the feeling of it instantaneously. In other words, the thought of your future should produce the feeling that it already happened instead of the feeling of lack because it hasn't happened. How many people understand that? That's where your attention and your energy is spent. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what you believe in, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, what you eat, I don't care, it doesn't matter. I've seen it always. So then the thought of our future, if we're doing this properly, should produce the feeling that it already happened. If the thought of your future produces the lack that it hasn't happened, you're still in your past, and nothing is going to change.
And the truth is about life, the ones that really meet the greatest version of themselves, the ones that really live the greatest life, they never arrive. They understand life is not about arriving at a destination. Life is about progressing through the journey.
That's really not how I think about things. For me, it's simply this is something that is important to get done, and we should just keep doing it or die trying. I don't need a source of strength. Not in my nature. I don't care about optimism or pessimism. Fuck that, we're gonna get it done.
How do you overcome the suffering of life? Is be a better person. That's how you do it. Well, that's hard. It takes responsibility. And I think, you know, if you said to someone, you want to have a meaningful life, everything you do matters. But everything you do matters. You're going to have to carry that with you.
There's all kinds of different ways to break. You can break physically, you can break mentally, you can break your heart, you can break your spirit, and none of those are fun, and all of those are gonna leave a mark. But the mark that they leave can be the mark of victory, or it can be the mark of defeat.
And the only way you can create a new flow is you start living in intentionality. Everything that you do is on purpose. Everything that you do is for purpose. Everything that you do is purpose. If there's no purpose in it, free yourself from it. Do you hear me? If there's no purpose in it, free yourself from it. If that relationship, that friendship, that partnership has no purpose in it, free yourself from it. That habit, if it has no purpose in it, free yourself from it. How you spend your time, if it has no purpose in it, free yourself from it. That environment, if it has no purpose in it, free yourself from it. Because when you don't live intentionally in your life, you do random stuff. And when you do random stuff, you get a random result.
You've got to develop the mindset that I didn't come to take sides. I came to take over. I came to make an impact. I came so that you would remember my name. You see, this is not about narcissism. This is about destiny. It's about purpose. It's about developing something. It's becoming something stronger, better, more important. Something that you can leave a legacy with. Something that can echo long after the days of your jersey is taken off your back. Can you be something? Can you be more? You gotta have a mindset. Iron will sharpen iron. I don't care how loud it gets, how difficult it gets. I'm not running from conflict. I'm bringing it.
sun doesn't shine every day. The storms will come. There are times when the nights will be long and dark and you will be alone. There will be times when the darkness seems to consume everything. But don't let it consume you. Don't let it consume you.
Suffering is a byproduct of the unknown. And that's why we will project out into the future and go, what if? Because suffering does introduce a man, or discomfort does introduce a man or a woman to their highest self. I call it the other room. Like in your head, in everybody's head, like there's this other place that you can go to. You may have been there before. And this other room, this other place, you get to meet your other self.
The comfort zone is dangerous. When you're comfortable, you are at most dangerous. You should never feel comfortable. You should be happy and dissatisfied. You should never be satisfied with what you got. Because the attempt to get more makes you into something better all the time.
Lazy people do a little work and think they should be winning, but winners work as hard as possible and still worry if they're being lazy.
Passion. Passion is that fire that you hold in your heart that will make you find a cause to pour your life into. Passion is the thing that made you get up this morning and say, I'm going to run, I'm going to lift, I'm going to go after my goals. Passion is the most powerful motivator that you can have. It's something that must be given to you by God, and you must sharpen its tool and put it to work. When it comes to passion, you have to realize that it will increase your willpower. It is the thing that is like weights. You start off at one level. The more that you work on, the more you pour into it, the stronger, the more powerful you will become.
That's when human beings change. It's like if you want to take the island and you're the head of the army and you want to take the island, the most powerful way to take the island is burn the boats. Because if there's no way to go back, it's amazing what happens when it's a must to do something versus a should.
Even in the darkest times, even in the strongest storms, even when the sun is blotted out and the world is falling apart, the darkness cannot extinguish your light. You, your will, your determination. No matter what is happening, no matter how hard the fight is, as long as you keep fighting, you win. Only surrender is defeat. Only quitting is the end. Because the darkness only wins if you've let it. Do not let the darkness win. Fight. Fight on. To fight against the darkness is to win. So fight on.
Good intentions are overrated. I know so many people, well, I'm going to do that. Yes, I think that's a good idea. I think I'm going to do that. So good intentions are the most overrated phrase in the world. You've got to go from good intentions to good actions. Nothing happens until you've got good actions.
You're not all you could be, and there's pain in that. And there's the necessity for a certain amount of judgment about that, and even a certain amount of exclusion, because what you are that is insufficient, in some sense, should not be allowed to propagate further. But, you know, here's some things about you that are virtuous and good, and they're pretty powerful, actually, and if you just made those more manifest, you could dispense with a lot of this immaturity and misery, and you could start walking this pathway that makes things better. And the thing is that as soon as you start walking the pathway that makes things better, then things immediately become better because your whole orientation changes. And you know, if you're in a bad place but you're escaping, that's pretty positive.
So find 5 reasons that empower you. Why is it that you deserve your goal? What are the 5 reasons that you won't give up? When life catches you on the blind side, when the messenger of misery visits you, what are you going to do? What will keep you in the game when life knocks you to the canvas?
You still have to play the hand that you're given. If you didn't have a father in your life, you got to play your hand. If you didn't have your father in your life, if you did have your father, you got to play your hand. If your family gave you absolutely nothing, you got to steward that. If your family gave you everything, you have to steward that.
We have 2 primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim.
You need to make it a habit to start every fucking day validating yourself. Because life is a marathon, and this might be a challenging leg where you're like, I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm not going to do that thing. Hell no. If you're standing in front of that mirror, you deserve to feel the support and empowerment and encouragement that you need. You are doing so much every single day that you don't give yourself credit for.
You got to learn to let the past go so you can grow. Many people never act on their dreams because they allow their past experiences to determine what their possibilities are. Whatever you've done in the past, that's not a reflection of your possibilities. That's just a reflection of your consciousness. The future is unfolding for you right now.
Projecting yourself forward to see what are the consequences of failing, what are the consequences of stopping, is about as powerful of a motivation strategy as I can think of. Because what you're doing is you're trying to optimize right now to stop the discomfort. But what you're going to pay for that in is shame and guilt and regret long term. So what you need to be able to do is bundle all of that up that is as yet unfelt, but will last for way, way, way longer. You know, the future is much longer than now. That's right. The future is going to extend out up until the day that you die. And the now is just for now. And even 130 hours is just 130 hours. And you get to look back, and do you look back with pride and glory? Or do you look back with shame and guilt?
The reason you need profound things is because life is actually a profound problem for everyone. I mean, you can shelter back and live a very conservative existence, and it doesn't stop you from having to face the ultimate questions of life. It would be better if you could, I think, if you could confront them full on. There are going to be times when you're in an emergency room and, you know, prone to panic and to cry and to break down and to collapse and to be of no use to anyone around you, and that's not the right way to be. The right way to be in a situation like that is to be strong and reliable, and I don't think you can do that without being wise.
At some point in life, we gotta wake up and we gotta say no more. We gotta wake up and we gotta say, man, this is it. We gotta wake up and say, I'm gonna make a change, a difference. We can't just be online watching things, saying amen, you know, all the things and go back to the same things, y'all. It doesn't work like that. Hearing things is great, but you know what? Doing things and taking action, that's what's gonna make change in your life. You need to start making some decisions. You ain't gotta change everything, but you need to say, you know what? This is the one thing that I'm gonna stop being loyal to, and this is the one thing I'm gonna start being loyal to.
You've had enough disappointment. Sometimes your brain doesn't want to get disappointed, so it's a permanent problem. No problem is permanent. Only your soul is permanent. Nothing's forever. Everything changes. Everything eventually ends and something new begins. That's part of life. Those are the seasons of life.
You have to lose your fear of failure. Failure is a part of the process. People who never fail, never try. You have to fail. You got to get it wrong to get it right. You learn nothing from winning. You only learn from your failures.
You must make moves in life. You cannot remain the same. Who you've been and who you were is not sufficient for where you're going. You must change. The environment that you grew up in is not one that you're trapped in. Because no one else won, no one else made it, doesn't mean that you won't, doesn't mean that you can't. What it means is that it's time for you to get sick and tired of seeing the same old, get frustrated with what was, get excited about what can be. Your past is behind you, but it is a roadmap of what to do and what not to do. It was a lesson, teacher. It was something that trained you for where you are today. But where you are today is just a pit stop. Refuel, recharge. Get over the trauma from the drama from your past. Use it as fuel to keep going. There are other laps in life that you must take. There are other people that you must pick up and provide passage safe for your family, because it begins with you. It only takes one person to start a new chain.
That you were born to do something great with your life. That you're enough, that you're special, that you're favored, that you're chosen, regardless of where you come from, regardless of what you've been carrying with you. But every day, some of us are killing ourselves with the shame we carry from something we've done, some humiliation, some fear. We put this gun to our head every day that tells us we're not enough. We're not strong enough, pretty enough, smart enough, favored enough, that we're doomed. And we carry these guns in our head every day that shame us, that take our confidence from us, that steal our joy. And there's a better way forward. You can put those things down in your life. You can decide today that you were born to do something great.
Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. Keep working. Keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
In life, you don't have just one shot. You see, the only difference between you and anybody that has created the things that you want in life is that they just kept shooting over and over and over and over again until they got what they wanted. In life, you have an infinite number of shots.
Lots of hierarchies to attempt to climb, and if you fail in one, go try in another. But the point is, you're still trying to aim for the top, and what the hell are you going to do if you don't try to aim for the top? You know, flap about uselessly and whine about your life? It's not helpful. It'll just make you miserable. You're not reliable to anyone. You can't help out in a crisis. I don't care what you're going to do, but go out there and make something of yourself for God's sake. Be an honest person and work and get to the top of whatever it is that you want to get to the top of. You know, and stand up for yourself like a respectable human being and be a bit of a light on the world instead of a blight.
There are people who come in your life sometimes to be there for a season. They weren't meant to be there always. Sometimes we find ourselves hooked up with people that we think are there for a lifetime, but they were only supposed to be there for a season. There are people who come in your life like boosters for a rocket. If you ever watch a rocket go into space, the boosters fall off when it reaches a certain altitude. Some people are not equipped to handle the altitudes that you're going to. So don't be afraid when they fall off. They're not bad people. They just couldn't go where you're going.
The man who loves walking will walk further than the man who loves the destination. When you love the journey, the goals just happen. You hit milestones as a side effect. Because it doesn't matter. At that point, I don't care if I can lift this much weight or run this fast. I mean, that's cool, but I don't love it as much as I love the journey. I love the journey. What does the journey consist of? Sucking at something, failing, getting better, learning, start it over, do it again. When you fall in love with the journey, everything else takes care of itself.
The difference between animals and men, when storms are coming, animals are able to sense it. And they're able to sense it long before we do. They have a sixth sense that tells them trouble's coming. Many times we're like that in life. Bad things are happening. And rather than keep going, of operating and finding shelter, we will stay in the storm because we are accustomed to bad things happening. It is not supposed to be the path of life for you to constantly go through trial and tribulation and not learn a lesson from it. You're supposed to go into it and learn something from it and come out of it better.
I don't see failure. I see grit, determination, drive, sacrifice. Failure means you're trying. A whole bunch of people out here never fail, because they never try. He said, how do you handle failure, guys? I said, I don't look at it as failure. I look at it as my first, second, third attempt. One thing in life that's for sure. The valiant motherfucker always wins.
So listen to me, there are those of you who said, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be the best at this company, right? But your value system says you believe in sleep more than you believe in grinding. Your value system says you are a consumer and not a producer. That you're spending more money than you're making. Why? Because you're a consumer, but you're reading all the books and you're saying everything the books are saying. But those books are not in alignment with your value. And if you're going to go to the next level, your values are going to have to change.
Now, how do you hang in there during the hard, difficult times, Les? You must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas. Unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That is not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action.
The scripture says that your gift will make room for you and put you in the presence of great men. That's what a gift does. Your gift will make a way for you. It'll provide your life to have purpose and meaning.
You have to have the willingness and the desire to face whatever storms come and know that the storm must also face you. Go into the storm. Knowing that there's peace on the other side. That no matter what you go through, it's not there to break you. It's to help you discover what you can be and what you can do. Everyone faces storms, but everyone is not you. You're different. You don't have to stay in the storm. You don't have to run from the storm. You can run into the storm. And when you get there, you'll discover that when hard times come, it helps you become even tougher. It helps you to discover that there's another level inside of you, another layer to who you are, that God did not allow more than what you can handle to come upon you at any point of your life, that whatever you're facing is to make you something stronger and better, and you'll be able to help others through it.
So I say, take ownership. Take extreme ownership. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Get control of your ego. Don't hide your delicate pride from the truth. Take ownership of everything in your world, the good and the bad. Take ownership of your mistakes, take ownership of your shortfalls, take ownership of your problems, and then take ownership of the solutions that will get those problems solved. Take ownership of your mission. Take ownership of your job, of your team, of your future, and take ownership of your life. And lead. Lead. Lead yourself. And your team and the people in your life, lead them all to victory.
You never look at yourself in the mirror and say, you let you die. Until you get to that point, you let you die. You're not brave enough. You want to put it on somebody else. The reason why I'm not successful is because of my boss. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I'm not getting up on time. I'm not going to work on time. I'm not putting in 120% when I'm at work.
You're here to make a difference. You're here to make an impact. You're here to leave an imprint on earth. That's why we have that dash. From the day you were born to the day that we die. And in that dash, the difference we make can echo long into eternity.
There are winners, and there are losers, and there are people who have not discovered how to win.
So then you might ask yourself, well, what's the best antidote to the discomfort of life? And you might say, well, it's comfort. And I suppose that's what you act out when you swaddle a baby. But a better antidote is something like adventure to excellence. That's far better antidote to suffering than the mere absence of suffering.
The ladder of success is never crowded at the top. The reason why it's never crowded at the top, most have a fear of going that high. You see, if I go that high, I won't be around my friends, I won't be around my family. And success has a way of separating you from it. But when you start to try to go higher, you'll find that there are crabs in the bucket. People who want to grab you by your coattails and pull you down, rather than stand underneath you and push you higher.
One thing about being in dark places, if you have the courage to stay in there long enough, your eyes will start to adjust to the darkness. Your body and mind will always adjust to more suffering, to more pain. If you want to push harder, know this. Your mind quits way before your body does. So you have to be willing to go way into that darkness and find more of yourself.
That's your gift. Quit running away from the gift. Your gift will make room for you. Stop trying to be something you ain't gifted at. It mentions your gift. What are you gifted at, and do that? Stop tripping.
No more. No more. No more. No more excuses. No more, I'll start tomorrow. No more, just this once. No more accepting the shortfalls of my own will. No more taking the easy road. No more bowing down to whatever unhealthy or unproductive thoughts float through my mind. No. No more. No more waiting for the perfect moment, and no more indecision, and no more lies. No more weakness. No. No more. Now is the time for strength.
So never give up. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
You have to put in the work. You have to be dedicated. You have to give it your all. You have to get up before others get up. You might have to sacrifice sleep on some nights in order to achieve things that others have never thought about doing. You must think outside the box and then stand on that box and remind folks that they can do it because you do. There is a roadmap to success. And it's narrow and it's hard, but it is God-directed and God-given. You cannot do it alone, but if you do it, you will find that there are those who will see you and follow your lead.
And through strength, and through will, and through unwavering discipline, I will become what I want to be.
You have got to change the way you think. It is the whole determining factor of where you go in life. We are all where we are today because we thought ourselves to this position. If you don't like the position, think yourself out of it. Change your attitude, you change your altitude.
But what a lot of us do is we talk ourselves right out of it because the first thing that we do is we ignore our soul and we pay attention to the world. We ignore what our soul is telling us and we go try to find validation in the world to bring credibility or discredit what our soul is telling us. Your soul is connected to God.
Do you want to live a life of contribution? Do you want to be a better father? Do you want to have your own business? Are there dreams you want? Everybody will say yes. But see, want shows up in conversation. Expectation shows up in behavior.
We have this thing we talk about, we want to be legendary. We don't want to be good, we don't want to be great. We believe those are superstars, they come and go. We want to be legends, we want to go down in history in whatever we do.
You have to do the work. You've got to hold the line. You've got to make it happen. So, dig in. Find the discipline. Be the discipline. Accomplish. That's it.
The world is waiting for a captain, a leader, for someone to step up and be an example that we can overcome the ghetto, you can overcome failure, you can overcome divorce and failures of businesses, discover that your character can get fixed and become someone. And the moment you become someone, you can help someone.
I say to myself, I refuse to believe that if I'm a good person and that if I'm working hard, I refuse to believe that this doesn't work out. I know that this moment's gonna pass, and I know that I will look back on this moment and I'll see exactly what I was meant to learn. And the fact that you believe in your heart, that you got the mindset, you got the work ethic, you got the ability to figure this out and to keep going, and that eventually if you do, what's meant for you is gonna find you. You will be rewarded for all this in the way that you're meant to be rewarded. That's amazing. It's an amazing feeling because you can pick yourself up no matter what happens.
you should be scared. You should be anxious. You should be worried. You should be concerned. You know what that means? That means you actually give a fuck about what you're trying to do. Everybody tries to preach this no anxiety, no stress, low drag, happy all the time shit. Bro, when you really care about something, you really want something to work, you're gonna feel stress about it. You're gonna feel anxiety about it. You know what? It means that you fucking give a shit, all right? You should feel that way.
Isolation. You can be out in the world, you can be a history maker and a productive legend. You don't get to do both.
Fear. Fear is the thing that has kept most of us from becoming great. Fear is the thing that creeps in that reminds you of a past sin, a past problem, or past failure. Fear that somebody might expose you, might say anything, or feel that if I try this, what if it all goes wrong? Maybe it's time you bet on you. Maybe it's time you push everything to the center and say, here's everything I am and everything that I want to be, and I'm willing to bet on me. It's time to walk in a room and change the atmosphere of the room, because you're there. When you arrive, things change. When you walk in, your presence fills the room. The way that you think, the way that you are, the way that you grind, the way you get up and go at the gym, everything that you are is being developed so that you can change the world and let them see that there was a purpose for your lifestyle.
I'm not going to give up or give out or give in. I am going to stand. I am going to maintain my self-discipline. And on those points, there will be no compromise. Not now, not ever.